Afternoon traders. All right, let's do a quick recap of yesterday's stocks and then we'll move on to what looks good for tomorrow. Okay. So the first one that we had mentioned was AQST. That was AQST. If you remember, I said let's wait for the first 30-minute candle. Remember, these are 30-minute candles. Each candle represents a 30-minute time frame. Now it said if we can since it was so close to the value area high, if we could take out the first 30-minute candle, there's a high probability it'll continue to run. So that's exactly what it did. At 5:36, I took a position at 5:36 and it looked great for the next hour until it started selling off with the remainder of the market. It did base right here in the $5 or 513 area, and it's looking pretty good setting up going into tomorrow. All right, let's move on to the next stock. And remember, we're going to wait for this next 30-minute candle to make a decision whether to stay long or cut our losses. All right, let's move on to the next one, which was DAN. Now, if you remember with the DAN, we got in yesterday at about $12.72, if I'm not mistaken, $12.74 to be exact. So we said, let's wait for that first 30-minute candle to make any decisions, right? So here we go. Here's that body of that candle, right? So the high was 1277, the low was 1243, and it never took out the bottom end of this. So it never took out the bottom end of this candle. So we stayed long this position. Now the good thing is we're setting up nicely going into tomorrow. We're going to wait for that first 30-minute candle, and then if it takes it out on the upside, we're going to stay long. And if it takes it out on the downside, we're going to cut our losses and see if we can get into a better position. I like our chances. The value area is in a really tight range. It looks like about a 10 or 12% range right here. So if we can get a little bit of a pop tomorrow, this stock should really run. It should be really a good winner for us. All right, last but not least was EVRI. Now, if you remember from yesterday's call, I had got into EVRI midday based on a few things that I saw and that I liked, right? The first thing that I saw was that nice big green candle on the first 30 minutes, and it was so close to that value area high that I thought the probability was it was going to continue to go. Well, it didn't, right? So it kind of sold off the remainder of the day, and I stayed long the position thinking, okay, if we could get a good pop, we're close to the value area, we're going to go ahead and it'll be a good one for us. But unfortunately, that first 30-minute candle, it took it out on the downside, and so I sold, and you should have sold as well. And if you can see, it went all the way down to $5.70 before it rebounded a little. It'll still be on the watch list for tomorrow. I'm going to put an alert right here, so that if it goes above 633, it'll pop back on my screen and maybe it could be in play again. Okay, so let's move on to the two stocks that we had mentioned going into yesterday. So the first one was VVNT, that was Vivint Smart Home. All right, so I did say this looked promising. It was in the value area with the recent upgrade. But at the end of the day, look at this first 30 minute. This was a no play, right? So we got it. We didn't get in. We waited for that first 30 minute. If anything, it was a short, right? As soon as it went below 1588, you could have shorted the stock, and you would have had a nice little gain, going into tomorrow if you held on, right? It's below this value area, and now it looks like it wants to turn lower. So if you are short, great. Or if you shouldn't be in the stock at all. Now, the next stock that we had talked about was PGTI. PGTI was really interesting too. Remember, this is the one with that bull flag and a bull flag breakout. All right, so let's look at today's action on this. Here's another one. Here's that 30-minute candle. It didn't look like much, but look, then it took off. Right at 1698, you could have been long, and it looked like it was going to be a real winner, right? It took out this whole larger bull flag. But this is the exact time when the market started selling off right into here. It still stayed above the value area high, so I am still long going into tomorrow. I'm in at 698, actually $17. So this is definitely on my watch list. I really like it. It looks like it wants to break out. This weekly looks great where it's breaking out of this bull flag pendant. So this might be a runner for next week. All right. Let's see. Now I have two more stocks to give going into tomorrow. All right. So the first stock that looks interesting is, let's see here. Oops. The first stock is ADS. All right, ADS. I've been following ADS for a while. It is Alliance Data Services, and they came out with earnings this morning, and earnings were actually okay, but the price action is what's more important, right? They came out with $1.86. You can see right here, okay? Um, their estimate was $1.35, so it actually beat by quite a bit. So look at this price action. First 30-minute looked good. If you wanted to go long here, great time to go long. This is going to be on my watch for tomorrow. I'm going to play this one on the first 30-minute candle. I was hoping for a little bit of a pullback today, and it did with the rest of the market, but I just sat on my hands, and I'm just going to wait till tomorrow to see what the price action is. Here again, this value area, the last 20 days, it's been between $41 and $46. This stock, if it does break above this 46, I think we're going to see some, $50, $60 range here in a very, very short time. All right. So the last but not least stock that I got into intraday, so I'm in this position as of right now, is STNG, and that's Scorpio Tankers. So I did see the stock come up on my radar. It was up maybe 1 or 2% at the time, and I followed it, right? So it was really close to this value area high right here of 1335, and in fact, it looked like it was going to take it out. It looked that it was going to just continue. But unfortunately, it did sell off with the rest of the market. I did get in at a pretty a high price at 1331, I think, and it sold off all the way down to 1299. I should have been a little bit more patient and scaled in, but I just went all in on the stock just because the market was selling off and this was staying pretty strong. So I thought this was a good risk reward ratio. So I'm in this stock. I'm going to wait for the first 30-minute candle and then make my decision whether to hold on to it or sell it. Now let's bring this up on the daily. The daily looks really good on this stock. This looks like a trend reversal right here, right? It gapped down, gapped up over here after this doji, refilled this gap, and it hasn't tested this level again, right? So right here about 12 and a half. So if you want to put your stop at 12 and a half, I really don't think you need to. I think your stop could be today's low at 1280. I highly doubt, unless the market sells off crazily tomorrow, I think we're in good shape right here. Again, we're in this upper half of this midpoint on the Bollinger Band. The only downside is right here. We are kind of bottom fishing here because it's near 52-week lows, but everything else looks really promising here. So again, we're going to keep a tight stop at 1280. If this works out the way I think it can, it should be a big winner. A couple of analysts have price targets at $40 and $50 on this stock, so it could be a real runner for us. Anyway, that's my analysis for today. Again, my name is Eric, and you can reach me at eric@valueareatrader.com with any questions you may have. Again, that's eric@valueareatrader.com. All right, remember, always be safe and trade smart.